May profits be upon you. Welcome to another weekly Forex forecast. Uh, we're going to go over the US dollar index, the euro, the pound, the Aussie, the New Zealand dollar, the Canadian dollar, the Swiss franc, and the Japanese yen. And we're going to run all through them. All right. Run with me. Run with me. Stay up. Stay up. All right. Looking at the U.S. dollar on the weekly forecast, on the weekly time frame, we're going to look at the COT report. COT report says that they're adding to their long positions and their short positions. All right, they're mostly short. All right, adding 5,000 last week, and but they're not too far behind in their longs. They're almost 50-50, almost. But they added 2,600 long positions last week. So they're still adding. They're still adding to their longs, even though they're adding more to their shorts, and they are a majority short. Now let's take a look at the reality. The reality is we had a very bullish week last week. This is on the weekly time frame. We extended pretty well past that swing high here, and we closed above it, which would indicate that there's probably more bullishness to come. All right, if it would have just wicked past and closed under it, then I would think, all right, we're about to start retracing. All right, so we look for these little signs and these little indications, but what will help to strengthen the argument of buys in this market is what's in this candle, this weekly candle. We'll go down one time frame to the daily and see if we can find evidence of support for higher prices. And what we find? What we find is a bullish fair value gap here. All right. Prices already come down and touched it on Friday, and we can expect higher prices. Well, we have a reasonable expectation for higher prices to come from here. All right. And this is the shoot. This is the previous weekly high, right? And I'm looking for price to catch that as our first liquidity target, and then look for it to reach that swing high up here. I think this impulsive move up is not complete. I think it'll be complete when it takes out that swing high, and then we can expect price to start to retrace the same way when it got up here. It did that. It dropped from there, came up this high, dropped, and then dropped again. We took this high out. This high and this high should be next because they're so close, and we'll see price pull back. So some short-term gains, I think, are in the cards from the bullish fair value gap on the daily. If we go to the euro and we look at the weekly, the COT report says that they uh, are mostly, the majority is short. They are cutting their short trades. All right, they are coming out of their short trades, and they're adding a few longs, few longs, but they are taking profits in their shorts. Okay, and you can see why. Look how strong it is. Now, the deal is it has come past that low, but the Dixie hasn't come past that same high. All right, these are the inverse of each other. All right, these two markets. Uh, do we see evidence that price will go even lower? If the U.S. dollar is going higher, you can bet your bottom dollar the euro is going to, catch the weak side of that. And if we go to the daily, we can see evidence. Look at that bearish fair value gap. Price came into it just like it did the opposite on the U.S. dollar index, and respected that bearish fair value gap. Could we see lower prices from here? Yes, we could. And I'm looking at this as my um, previous weekly low for our first target. And as far as the secondary target or our weekly target, we're going to have to reach for this. We're going to have to reach for this one. And I'm thinking right there. Oh man, come on. This isn't going well. All right. All right. Now that's a pretty far off project target, but we'll see what price does. Now the easy thing about this analysis is that if this fair value fails, all right, and price closes above that fair value gap, then understand that what we'll have is the beginnings of a pullback. All right, and we could be pulling back to the breakout area here, or test this low, test that low, but this low is the one I think we'll come back into, and we have a fair value gap just above that, because there's nothing to stop price from going higher if this fair value gap doesn't hold price. All right, we'll probably end up here. All right, so just watch this fair value gap and let's see if we get the continuation to the downside from there. I didn't give the dollar signs to these. All right. If we go to the pound, what do we got in the pound? Pound is pretty. That was a very bearish week we had last week. And you can see, let me get rid of that one. You can see that they are cutting their 11,000 short positions, but they are majority long. And they're not adding positions at all. All right. They're not adding positions at all. And they're cutting their shorts. They're taking profits. This is looking at this price action and looking at this COT report confuses me a little bit. All right. They're majority long. Look how long it's been short. And they've been majority long. This is interesting. And they're taking profits. Now, after this swing low was taken here this past week, you would think, I would think that to expect price to pull back a little bit, because we've taken two swing lows, all right, and you expect price to pull back a little bit. But is there something to pull back to in this candle? A fair value gap is what I'm talking about. Is it in there? We'll look. All right, we swing past that. What will be our target? Well, if we go to the daily, we can see that there's no fair value gap here. There's no fair value gap here. Actually, nope, there's no fair value gap here. The one that's here is way up here. All right. Now, am I thinking that price is coming all the way back up here just to go down lower? I don't know. I do not know about that. All right, because that's a big reach, and there's old bullish fair value gaps here for price to have some speed bumps to getting down to that swing low. It may be easier to pull back after this fair value gap here. Now, do we have something on a weekly fair value gap here? Nope, it was already used here. So there's nothing to stop price from going or slow down price until it gets down to this bullish order block. If I'm going to take a market, because this one's showing a little bit more strength than the euro, if I'm going to take a market against the US dollar, I'm going to take the euro over the British pound. We may get some consolidation here. We may get some consolidation here, because this is a stretch to think that price is going to come up here and then go down. All right. If price comes up here, I'm thinking there might be a good chance price might continue higher. So it could very well stop price. We'll see. But if I'm going to choose a market, I'm going to take the euro against the dollar over the pound against the dollar. Now, if we go to the Aussie dollar, let's get rid of that. All right, and we take a look, we'll see on the COT report that the institutional traders are mostly long, but they've closed 7,900 positions. All right, they also took off 6,000 positions from the short side. So I'm not really going to get a whole lot of guidance from that. What I'm gonna look at is this price action. Look at all that. This is the weekly candle, a weekly time frame. Look at all that weekly stuff. All right, we formed a nice breaker here with a fair value gap. This is a unicorn on the weekly. Price came, pulled away, gave daylight here, which is I find important. Uh, uh, Came back and tapped the breaker and fell like it's supposed to. It's respecting the premium arrays, and we're on our way down. I told you I didn't know. I told you a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if I want to see what price does when it reaches the 50% of this big wick. And look where we are. Boom. All right. Are we going to take that wick? Are we going to close below that wick? That will indicate that price is going for that low. All right. If price pull, let me move this. Let me move this for a second here. All right. We can make another one. All right. What I'm looking for is evidence in this wick. I mean, in this candle, that price is going to go lower. All right. And if it comes back, if price pulls all the way up to that wick, that would invalidate any bearish fair value gaps to form. That would mean that the pathway up, back up, is easier. There's no resistance for it to run into. But once we come down into the daily, we see that we have a nice fair value gap for price to find resistance and come down to reach for lower prices. I'm looking for the previous weekly low to be taken as an initial target, as usual. You know how I do it. All right. And this will be my weekly target. Um, it's much further, but there's the possibility this week that we could reach it. And I'm looking forward to going for it. It'll be a nice trade to take. But this will be the first one. Right, yeah. All right. If we look at the New Zealand dollar, not too different. Not too different. If we go to the weekly, you can see very bearish week. Price did respect the bearish fair value gap here, came up and touched it, and continued down. All right. They're adding to their majority short positions, 4,400 positions to that, and they also added 1,000 to their long positions, but they're majority short, and they're adding to those short positions. You can see that we took out these relative equal lows here this Friday. All right, boom. So, is the pursuit of shorts over? Is it? I don't know. I don't think so. If I can just see, uh, do we have a reason to go? Yeah, there's this low here. It's a further away target, but that is sell side liquidity. But we swept this sell side liquidity here. These relative equal lows. There's a good reason to think that price may pull back. Let's go and take a look at that candle on the daily. Do we have a bearish fair value gap that can hold price at bay? Yes, we do. That's why I got a big old red arrow on it. All right. And this could hold price and bring us to lower prices. We can hit that previous weekly liquidity, the liquidity under the previous weekly low, and that'll be our first target. And then we have the further target down here. All right. If the fair value gap should fail, we could possibly see price start to uh, leave bullish fair value gaps along the way and pull back into one to go higher. All right. We can start a retracement, but until that happens, we're looking at this fair value gap to hold price and look for lower prices. Right. If we go to the Canadian dollar, on the weekly, you can see it's been very bearish. We broke all of the structure here, all these lows. Boom. Right. We broke this one as well. I mean, this has been one bearish doggone market. All right. And it's been paying. All right. So, do we have any evidence to show that we're going to continue low? Well, they're adding 2,000 positions to their majority short positions, 204,000 short positions by the institutional players. All right, so that got to go. All right, so let's look in that candle to see if we have any bearish fair value gaps from which price could use to go lower. And there we go. We got one right above. All right. Uh, we have this fair value gap. We can just go down lower from it. All right. And we have a previous weekly low, very close, which is very convenient. All right. And we have our further target. Do we have a further target? Yeah. We have this. I pointed out this low resistance liquidity over here a long time ago. It's better to see it on the weekly. Those lows are are the kind of liquidity that price wants to run through, and that's what we're doing right now. That stem is going right through these lows. We're halfway through, and this will be my further target for sell side liquidity. Wow, my time clock. Hopefully, we may not get it this week. We may get it next week, but I think that's where we're headed. Okay. If we go to the US dollar CAD, the opposite, the inverse of that, you can see uh, we have the bullish fair value gap here, and all I'm thinking about is price coming down to it and then up. Okay. All right. This is a Swiss franc, and the institutional players are they're not doing much with their positions, but they are majority short. All right, and you can see I have the targets already set. We hit this one last week. All right, boom, that's already done. All right, we hit that low. That means there's a possibility that we could pull back. Where will we pull back to? Haha, we got a bearish fair value gap right there. And from there, we're going to watch to see if it holds and bring us to the previous weekly low and the weekly target here set at 1.11800. Okay, easy enough. The inverse is true on the US dollar Swiss, the CFD. All right, we have a bullish fair value gap that we can come down and hit the previous weekly high here, and then or this one, which is very close, and then we can hit that other high here at a override right around 9,000. If we look at the yen, all right, I'm looking hard at the yen. All right, this is the daily. We got a bearish fair value gap. I'm looking to see if it holds or not. If it does not hold, look to see that we're going to start to see prices go higher. All right, if it doesn't hold, we need to see a break and close on a daily basis above this fair value gap. All right, if that doesn't happen, if the fair value gap holds price, we can see price drop. We can see price drop from there and look for the bearish, the previous weekly the previous weekly low to be tapped for liquidity, and we have another target down there as well, previous weekly low. All right, and we have another target down there uh, at this low here for the weekly target. All right. Now, I hope you were able to catch all of that because I talked fast and I'm hoping I didn't lose you. Now, the inverse, of course, is the US dollar JPY. And the only thing you're going to be looking for is the exact opposite. I'm looking for prices to go lower. You're looking for prices to go higher on the US dollar JPY. We are in a bullish fair value gap. I want you to keep an eye on that fair value gap. And if it holds, we're going to see price go higher. Okay. If it doesn't hold, look for this low to get taken and prices to continue lower. Leave a like, hit the boost. Make sure you watch the comment section for my updates throughout the week. May profits be upon you. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching.